Thank you so much for joining us once again. My name is Kat. We're going for the first breakout room to meet new people. So I would like us to answer the question, where would you want to go after this COVID-19 is over?
Oh, hi, Tin.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to be with y'all.
Oh, y'all. He learned English in the South. Okay, so let's start with Lori. So tell just your name and where you're from, and where do you want to go?
My name is Lori, and I am an American living in South Korea, and I want to go to Ohio because that's where my mom and dad are, and I miss them, and I don't know when I'll get to see them next. But
Mishi, can you tell us about yourself?
Hi everyone, I am born in Belgium. I'm living now in Budapest, and I hope that there will be in October the conference in Thailand, so I can go to Thailand.
Maybe we have winter conference in Korea.
Oh yeah?
Hey, can you tell us a little about yourself and where you want to go?
Yes, my name is Tan. Actually, I'm from Thailand, but now I live in Korea. If I can choose where I can go, wow, it's so hard. I want to go to Russia. I want to go to Jerusalem.
No, okay, your time is up.
Okay.
Anya, can you tell us about yourself?
The only place I want to go is to South Korea.
Oh.
And many years ago, I was praying for North Korea. And also, I want to go to France.
Keep France later. South Korea first.
And how about you, Stephen? Where would you like to go?
Yeah, so my name's Steven. I'm in Kentucky right now, Lexington, Kentucky. If the COVID thing was finished today, then I would go to Baltimore because the conference has just been canceled. But anyway, but yeah, after it is finished, I want to go to South Korea too. I'll meet you there, Anya.
Welcome back to the main room. We're going to start our main topic for this evening.
Welcome everybody. So this week we will talk about freedom. What does freedom mean to you? Now different people can have different answers and may vary from nation to nation, person to person. We will first watch a video. People from around the world will share about what freedom means to them. And then after watching the video, I'm going to invite each one of you to share with us in one sentence, what does freedom mean to you personally?
Freedom is different things to different people. What do you think freedom is?
Sloboda.
Libertà, être libre. Freedom. I don't know.
Mogu god da trčim po ulici. Na primjer.
La libertà per me è sottrarsi alle aspettative degli altri.
Свободата за мен е да бъдеш себе си, да бъдеш такъв какъвто си.
Özgürlüğün anlamı daha çok bir baskı olmadan yaşamaktır bence.
Свобода — это отсутствие страха.
الحرية هي الفن، هي الرقص، هي الحب.
自由係可以自己想做乜就可以做乜。
La liberté de parler, de réfléchir et d'agir. C'est les trois en même temps.
Ελευθερία για μένα σημαίνει να μπορώ να σκέφτομαι και να κινούμε χωρίς περιορισμούς.
Freedom is the power to create your own existence in this world.
Yo creo que esa es una utopía. Yo creo que eso no existe en realidad.
好きなお酒をね、たらふく飲みたい。
Being happy in your own skin can be extremely liberating.
Volare, nuotare.
自由就係我哋永遠都要追求嘅嘢，但係我哋生下嚟嘅時候就冇自由。
Para mí la libertad es desconectarse de todo.
Freedom is nice.
Oh, freedom is everything.
Wolność jest tam, gdzie umiera prawo.
Wolność jest tam, gdzie umiera prawo.
Es algo que todos tenemos, pero no muchos lo conocemos.
Not working and going to the beach.
Pa sloboda bi bila samo kada bih imala krila pa mogu da poletim, ništa manje.
靠近台湾海峡里裸泳吧。
주말이라고 생각합니다.
Свобода — это любовь.
Svoboda je čas.
퇴근 후에 마시는 맥주 한 잔.
Melakukan sesuatu tanpa merugikan orang lain.
Think about that. Freedom. What is freedom?
I hope this gives us some inspiration of what freedom means to us. So let's first continue finishing writing freedom in your own language. So this is what it looks like in Chinese. Freedom. So in Chinese it reads 自由.
This is in Azeri and it is azadlık.
Well, mine is in Thai language. It's called เสรีภาพ
And Vietnamese language is like tự do.
For Filipino language, we say kalayaan.
How about Korean?
Chayu. Yes, chayu.
How about Russian?
Chayu.
Svoboda.
This is Hungarian.
Oh, yes,
Sobat.
what is it?
Jabat.
Sobat.
Yeah, I think this is the freedom of writing freedom. Amazing how God has created different languages.
Love it.
Expressing the same concept. Let me just randomly choose a couple of people asking you in one sentence, what does freedom mean to you personally?
I think freedom, I mean, really just to be free, to not have any burden. I think often of like Jesus, that Jesus has set me free.
Carol, you have your definition. What does freedom mean to you?
I mean, really, ultimate freedom is having freedom in Christ, not living in bondage to your past, to sin, to the negative things around you, but to just have true happiness and peace, and to be just set free from things in this world.
David, can I ask you, what does freedom mean to you?
The ability to choose. We're free because we can choose how we do what we do.
Andy, do you want to share? What does freedom mean to you?
Yes, freedom means have no fear, that I can love with no limitation.
Rose, do you want to share?
Yeah, to me it's like I can choose what I don't want. It's like I can choose not to do what I don't want to do is my definition of freedom.
Well, freedom is to be free from, homework, rules, assignments, papers, readings.
Murat, you have what does freedom mean to you?
That I know God accepts me as I am.
And May?
Ability to think, plan, and act guilt-free and with confidence in God.
We are going to have a second round of sharing. Like we are going to ask you to share an example of or a moment when you truly feel freedom. So Constance, give us an example or share a moment when you truly feel freedom.
Okay. I got married when I was 17 years old, and of course there was not a lot of money. So we often struggled with our finances because we were very young. And my husband came home from his job one day, and we had been talking about doing photography full-time as our employment. And I was very nervous about that because we had 4 children. And as we were sitting up all night long praying about it, God just revealed to me that the place where we went to work was not our source of income, that He was our source and that He would provide for us. And that just gave me such freedom that I didn't have to worry about my income or how I was going to provide for my children. That was a very, very freeing moment. And that was probably 30 years ago. And now my children are all grown up and gone away and have children of their own. So it was very exciting to watch that unfold. You know, I couldn't know the future and know that here I would be sitting 30 years later in freedom.
Thank you, Constance. That's very encouraging. Thank you for sharing this story that freedom can set us free from the bondage of the circumstances that we are in, and the God's provision goes beyond the situation that we are in. So we are going to be in the second round of breakout rooms. So in each breakout rooms, we are going to share about those moments when we truly feel freedom.
Just like most of the people, kind of thinking of what people think of you, like kind of thinking of their approval. But when I came to Thailand and work here, I got to decide for myself, and I don't think of what other people would think of me, especially when I decided to embrace Christianity, you know, in a Buddhist country, because, you know, it's totally different from the Philippines. The belief where I grew up, but embracing the Christianity and knowing God, knowing Jesus, it just gave me, you know, really freedom, like in every area of my life, I can say that.
Right.
Freedom to think, do, act, but my confidence is in Him. So yeah.
I can think of a couple of occasions where I truly feel freedom. One is when I can be free from bias. I just feel it's so easy that we have our own bias against people, against things. So I can feel truly freedom when I can realize that I have bias and I can be free from bias. That's one thing. Right. And another thing I can think of is the way I can be free from judgment. It's a very similar thing, but it's so easy that when you see somebody, hear somebody, even as Christians, sometimes we feel we are better than non-Christians, and we make judgments. Our faith is better than other churches' faith, or as Christians we are better than non-Christians. So I think this kind of judgments, and also in daily life, from day-to-day life, it's so easy to make judgments. So I feel truthful. If I can overcome my own judgment, I think that's a true freedom for me. And also it's like free from complaining. I sometimes I feel like I have a complaining spirit. I'm not satisfied with this, I'm not satisfied with that. And I like, normally I'm not a nagging mother, but I complain a lot with my hubby. So I feel like if I can be free from complaining, that's true freedom. Wow. And the last situation I can think of is like being able to free from emotions, like from day-to-day life. So we are so easily to become the victim of our own emotions. Like we feel this is not right. We feel angry. We feel anxious. We feel self-pity. Like we fall into traps of all our emotions. Like we kind of forget who we truly are, and we will forget the peace and joy from God. So if I can be free from emotions, those are the moments that I feel the true freedom.
For me, the moment I feel freedom that when I'm in the airport, when I'm on the train, when I'm on the bus, when I fly, when I'm in a place that I don't even know where I'm going, when I'm in a place that I don't know people, I feel really free because I feel free for me. Those moments is when I feel like I know that, you know what, I'm totally have to depend on my God. And for me to summarize, like the moment of true freedom is like the moment that I feel free from me. I mean, of course, we can feel free from different things, but when I'm kind of don't have to depend on myself, that I feel like I'm free.
Welcome back. I hope you all have had very good discussions sharing about what are the moments that you feel like truly free. So does anyone want to share some of the examples that you shared? One from each room. Who is the leading room one?
I think Lori's example was the best, but I also want to say that Steve said free as a bird, free as a bird. So that's an example of fly, you know, they just have that freedom to glide through the air. But I think Lori's example gave us a lot of good insight. Lori, can you share your example that you gave us?
I feel most free when I have boundaries, like when somebody who I know who loves me and who is smarter than me and wiser than me has, you know, given me some boundaries, but that I'm free to do what I want to do. Like having
all of our examples were connected, so that boundary of it doesn't seem like that would be freedom when you have a boundary or, you know, some rules or some guidance. And Anya also added to that by saying that when she got to be 18, that was like the point of freedom, like, oh, I'm an adult, I will be so free. But then she found out that that wasn't really true, that you know, without those guidance and boundaries of her parents, she didn't feel as free as she thought she would. And Mishi shared too that, you know, her freedom came in God, which again is some rules and boundaries for us. Everyone's was a little bit connected.
So we talked about a number of different things, but my sharing was about moving back to America. And one of the things that I noticed after some time in other countries was we Americans emphasize that freedom is not having rules. Like right now, we have controversy over something as simple as wearing a mask to protect others, and that's just us as Americans. What the Bible teaches us is that freedom comes from being free from sin. We are born slaves to sin, and freedom is where Christ breaks those bonds and gives us the choice to choose what is good. Lori mentioned boundaries, to choose to live in those boundaries, and that is freedom.
Sounds like we are all pointing to the same message. The freedom, as contrary to what we normally understand, freedom act means like we live freely within the boundary. Thank you.
When we're talking about freedom, I see have a lot of defines about the freedom, and in my opinion, and my group is freedom is free to do everything, and being you are who you are. My moment of freedom is I'm a student and I come from countryside, so when I come to Hanoi, it's a big city, I have to rent a room, and in here a room is so expensive, so I have to share with another people. So you know, I feel freedom when I am alone. When my roommate they go out and I can do anything I want to do.
I think freedom means we are free from expectations. We are free from expectation of people around us. We're from expectations of the people that close to us, like our family, like our parents. We are free from the expectations of ourselves because we have some standard, we have some self-understanding about how or what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. So freedom means that I know that I'm totally accepted by God. He loved me, or He loves us unconditionally, with no expectation. So that when we accept this and expectation and conditional love, that we are free from the expectations of people around us, from our families, or from our self bias, judgment, complaining, emotion, and self, like Tan Leslie shared that, free from myself.
Amazing sharing. I'm sure that we all have been inspired and encouraged by what we have been sharing in the breakout rooms. Now we want to save the time for the special guest tonight. So we will invite Steve to share with us what does he think freedom means. So Steve, we will pass the floor to you.
Yeah, I think this is an amazing subject to think about. For myself, when I start thinking about something, I also like to begin to think about, okay, what's the opposite, right? What's the opposite of freedom? So we could think of like slavery is very much the opposite of freedom. To be, and a lot of it I think has also to do with control. You know, am I in control? What am I in control of? Maybe David mentioned earlier about this freedom to choose, to make choices. So maybe the opposite of that would be like I'm not free to make my own choices, right? And I think that many people have this idea of freedom, like Anya mentioned, like when I turn 18, then I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free to do whatever I want to do. But it's interesting, like that's a concept. I'm free to do whatever I want to do. But there's something that actually, when I have the mindset, I'm going to do what I want to do, that's a different kind of slavery. It becomes a different kind of control on my life. And I'm not recognizing actually the boundaries in which I am designed to live in. We are created to live within boundaries. In our breakout room, I mentioned one of the most amazing times I felt the feeling of being free was when I was in high school. My father is a pilot, flies airplanes, and we joined a glider club, and I learned how to fly a glider. A glider is an airplane with big long wings, and it has no motor, no engine on it. Like you don't have an engine, so actually you're not free to travel across the country. You're controlled by actually the variations of they're called thermals, the weather. The weather is, the air is going up, it's going down. You can go, and if it's a good day, you can fly right up into the clouds. And there is an amazing freedom, like feeling of freedom with it. But there are many boundaries with that. So one, like if the wind stops, okay, I'm going to have to land. If a storm comes, I need to get down on the ground before also gravity. Gravity is very dangerous when you're up high, and if you're not using using the glider within the realm of its design. So this is actually my point. The glider is designed, and when you stay within that design, those boundaries of the design, you have amazing experiences of freedom. The idea of freedom, I think, it can be dangerous. It can be very dangerous if I don't understand the boundaries and the design of my life, right? What is really the purpose of life? If I get this wrong, right now, I'm working with a group of people who are trying to recover from alcoholism and drug addiction, and they have experienced the pain of violating boundaries, and actually their freedom brought them into a greater degree of slavery than before. Now they become a slave to the drugs or to the alcohol.
Yeah.
So this is very important subject for us to think carefully about. What is true freedom, and what is, also what is slavery, where I lose total control. So Anya mentioned, maybe that was in the breakout room, John chapter 8. Just want to read a couple verses there, and then I'll finish up. So John chapter 8, verse 31, Jesus says this. He says, if you abide in my word. Abiding in my word that doesn't look like freedom. That actually looks like being connected to something that it could seem very rigid, but if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. You are truly my disciples. So the word, here's the important thing. If I think that, I'm free to do whatever I want, whatever I want should fall within the boundaries of what is true. Otherwise, it's going to deceive me and I will become a slave to something else. And Jesus said, actually, true freedom is found in an abiding, connected relationship with Him as His disciple, where actually I make choices. I'm free to choose, but I make choices to submit to or surrender to who is Jesus Christ. Does that make sense? Like, I'm free to choose, and I make a choice to submit to truth and abide in the design by which I was created. And this is true freedom. So a little bit later, he mentions, you're my disciples indeed, which means you really are your true disciples. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, then you are free indeed. Then is true freedom. So I love the discussions we've had here. It's helping me, actually helping us think about what is true freedom. If I think true freedom is just do whatever I want to do, whatever I feel like doing, what's going to be the result? I'm going to become enslaved to something else, much more terrible but the greatest freedom is to submit to and choose to, submit to truth and like bind myself to truth. Truth is not just a concept, it's not just a philosophy, but it's a person of Jesus Christ. So
amazing. Freedom means that we have the freedom to choose to submit to the truth. I love that. And we are created to live within the boundaries that God designed for us.
We have a surprise for a few people in our chat group. This is for Daniel, Ta, and Samuel.
Hey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Wow, happy birthday, Daniel, Samuel, and Ta.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.